Making it in business isn't about spreadsheets, this or that. It's about guts, tenacity, and above all, street smarts. Join Sarah Shaw as she talks with successful entrepreneurs about all the hard-won lessons they've learned on the mean streets of the business world. If you've ever felt stuck, stifled, or even just scared to get out there and make your mark, you'll learn how even the most successful entrepreneurs overcame failure and found the power to move forward. So forget about learning about business in school, because all you need to make it big is a Street Smart MBA. You can find Sarah's podcast, Get a Street Smart MBA, on iTunes or at sarahshawconsulting.com.
All right. Hey, Sarah Shaw here with another episode of Get a Street Smart MBA. And I am excited today to be here with Ashely. And she's the CEO and co-owner and designer of this really cool brand that I happened to see on Shark Tank called Pink Picasso and Wear Your Soul. So Ashely's background is in photography and manufacturing, which obviously allowed her to kind of get this going. Help her family grow. She does it with her wife and her business partner, Brittany. And over the last 3 years, this wife team has worked at home, like many of us, raising their 3 kids, creating all of these different consumer brands that all their fans love, which I love. I think they're so cool. My kids are super into art, and we just thought this was so awesome. And obviously at this point, they're super ripe for growth, see a bright future for expanding the brands and growing the company. And what's really cool is they actually got onto Oprah's Favorite Things 2 times, and were offered 4 separate deals on Shark Tank, which is what really caught my attention. So this was back in November of last year, and we were going to talk all about it. And they are totally creating new things all the time. They're super creative. And when they're not taking the entrepreneurship world by storm, they enjoy spending time with their family and their kids, the dog, the cat, even horses, and inventing all kinds of new products and things that we as consumers can enjoy, and finding new and exciting ways of working together. So Ashely, welcome. So glad to talk to you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. That's so fun.
Of course. So I saw you guys on Shark Tank, which I mentioned, and I'm just really interested in your launch story. Like, what got you to be like, whatever, with our past, we're gonna turn the channels, right? Yep. And we're gonna head straight forward into Pink Picasso.
Yeah. So really and truly, we had a hard reset on life. And so we have 3 kids, and they're constantly hungry. I mean, they eat all the time. And it really was, we need a job. We need a great job. We need a job that's super flexible. So our start started with Wholesale Market in January 2019. And so that was really like our start. I mean, that was what people really bought into it, the first market in Atlanta. And that's the only market we did until that summer. So we were really grateful to start off kind of with a swift kick. And so we grew from Wholesale and then added Amazon and our website, of course. And by the end of that first year, that's when we were on Oprah's Favorite Things the first time. So everything's kind of evolved from there, but that first year was kind of nuts for sure.
Nuts in like figuring out the manufacturing and getting the process going, and like, how the heck do we sell this? Why do people want it? Who wants it?
Right. And, honestly, when you get a product idea and you bring it to market, meaning, you don't buy, 5 million units, right? And you have to start with what you have and what you can fund, whether it be yourself or through someone else. And so for us, it was funding ourselves. And so, we started with just buying what we think we could sell. And so figuring out logistics, like what's the best way to get it here? Where are we going to put it? Where are we going to sell it? And how much is it going to be? And do we have to have a catalog? And, all of those things, and trying to operate super lean without hiring a bunch of people, which we didn't. We just had our 2 bodies and our children to help us pack boxes. So that was all.
Good for that, right?
Yes, that's true. Even if they are hungry all the time. Yeah.
And so you started in 2019, and then obviously you came into the COVID world a few months later into 2020. And how did that affect your business in the beginning?
It was, Yeah, it was really actually really good for our business. And honestly, we didn't think of it like, oh, awesome, we're going to make a bunch of money off this year. That's not, nobody would explain 2020 that way. It was honest to God, like it started with the boutique saying, we can sell this on curbside. We can sell this, online. And so it became a very personal experience with all of these boutiques who partnered with us, give me something I can sell so I can pay my rent. And there were so many people who said, I'm in a lease. They're not going to be lenient with me. I've got to find things I can sell and pivot. And so much of the first part of 2020 was helping these people pivot, honestly, like, what are you going to do? Like, let's all get scrappy. And I think almost all entrepreneurs have that piece, that scrappy piece, that grit. Because if not, you're not going to be able to handle the first down month, right? Or
the ability to pivot,
right,
is crucial, right? It's a linchpin to being an entrepreneur, but I think especially when you're faced with a crisis, right? Like whether it's 9/11 or COVID or whatever thing, an earthquake, whatever comes your way, right? You have to think innovatively and be able to innovate in that moment, because I don't know if you found, I did a lot of talking to store buyers and trying to help them, because I was like, oh my God, so many of them don't even have a website, right? They just have a splash page and they're like, come on in, right? And then all of a sudden they were like, oh my God, I need a website, right? So you probably encountered people who had to scramble, right, and get a website going.
Yeah. And, we heard a lot from those people because they had to have photography assets. They had to have, so our team really spent 6 months trying to get everybody selling, so it was great for our numbers, but it just wasn't like, we just kept working. Like we really didn't personally have any logistics issues. Our boats were on time. I mean, we didn't really have any issues. And, knock on lots of wood. I mean, that's kind of been our story, is we've always had product and we've ordered enough to where we've been able to stock people like that and, keep Amazon stocked. So it was definitely a tough year just from a work standpoint. And we learned a ton. And I think a lot of people learned a ton about what they're capable of, for sure.
Exactly. And is that, so is that experience really what made you guys decide to apply for Shark Tank? How did that roll out?
So we went through 2020 and we're on Oprah's Favorite Things again that year. And so 2021 in March through May, I can't exactly remember the date, they actually reached out to us. They saw us on Good Morning America and reached out to us, which from what I understand, what I've been told is about 100-ish, 125 or so people taped for the 13th season out of about 40,000 that they had in the pool. So
good Lord,
it was almost like, rounds of cuts. I mean, they cut, everybody who didn't have this and everybody, but we would just get an email weekly. Hey, you made it to the next round. Hey, the producers approved your videotape. Hey, whatever. And so we weren't really aware of how many people were weeded out along the way until the very end. And so we're super grateful. The people involved were amazing, just like Oprah's people. Everybody involved was just really dynamic and just over the top nice. And so it was a really great experience, like all the way through. So we found, those are great opportunities just to meet people outside your home if you work from home and just learn and grow and, take a lot of constructive criticism and, certainly have to be organized.
Yes.
Because they ask for everything. They want to know everything.
Yeah.
So
it's always amazing to me when people get on the show, and obviously I know the rigorous process that you go through, but sometimes, you see people freeze, right? And they're just like, okay. And you can see their wheels spinning and they're trying to come up with the number or answer the question or, I always just feel, it's so much, it must be so much effort.
It really is. The taping itself, I think they aired 10 or 12 minutes, something like that. But we were on on camera for over an hour or right at an hour. So there was a lot of information that was back and forth, a lot of questions, customer acquisition costs. I mean, stuff that you don't think about. I mean, I guess you should, but it's not stuff you're sitting around thinking about all the time. And so we felt prepared. We felt really good about it. They didn't really ask us anything that we didn't know, but that was due to the people that prepped us,
Sure.
So I feel like if you're ever to that point, I mean, you have got to have your ducks in a row for sure. Even if, your numbers have to be good, of course, but, they do prep you for all of that. So it's a lot less arduous than you would think.
Yeah, I would imagine. Well, so obviously pretty much everybody there wanted a piece of your Pink Picasso business, right? And so how did you navigate all of that, and who did you end up doing a deal with?
So, it was pretty clear when we were in there. I think Brittany would say the same thing, who, we love them all. So it wasn't a matter of, we recognized they wouldn't be where they are if they weren't great business people. So there wasn't anybody that we were really drawn to more than another, other than, just personality wise. Of course, Lori is like, I don't know, we just admire her as a woman who does a lot of business. And so we did get a deal with her, and then also with Daniel Levetsky, who's the Kind Bar owner. And so they went in together. It was a first deal to do together. And they basically came in almost at our ask. And so, or at our ask, actually, we asked $400,000 for 15%, and we got 2 sharks for that, which was really great. And, Mark was painting the whole time, and he knew it wasn't a good fit for him necessarily. I mean, he kept saying we didn't need a shark. And then Barbara gave us an offer, but she didn't think we needed a shark either. And Mr. Wonderful gave us an offer, and he didn't think we needed a shark. So it was kind of like, I mean,
3 against 2. Yeah.
Yeah. And they did it, but our thing was, and this from owning your own business and doing so many aspects of it, you don't know what you don't know until you need it.
Right.
And so there's a lot of things that we are learning kind of the hard way. And I wish that we had someone that has already been there, done that, to say, hey, look, don't do this yet. This is going to be, 40 hours a week of unpaid heartache, don't do this yet. Like, wait until this, or this is the best way to do this, or this is the best way, yeah, we can figure it out, but we're going to do it the best way. And so that was mainly why we wanted to pair with Shark, because they've already been there. They've done everything that we could possibly want to do with the product business. And so it just would be a great way to not have to experience things the hard way. So
and cut your learning curve and
yes,
get you to the end point faster.
For sure. And, and everybody knows new things are stressful. And with as much as you have going on anyway, it's just, let's minimize what is stressful. So that's kind of where we were with it.
And what were there things specifically that were going on in your business that you were hoping to get help from a shark?
Yeah,
besides general knowledge along the way, but just anything specific?
So 2 things. One, our warehouse situation. Nobody really slides their prices across the table. Here, look at my warehouse prices, and it's very hard to compare because of the differences. How you pack something, what size box, and the labor involved, and it's very hard to price shop warehousing. Like you're just, I mean, you've probably done it, and it's probably, so you're like, oh, that's, but that's a hard thing. You don't know if you're paying too much. You don't know if your storage fees are too much. Do you do it by pallet, or do you do it by cubic foot? So that little things like that can be one of your biggest expenses and your cost. And so, side note on that, I wish that they had said on Shark Tank, yes, you get a landed cost of this, but nobody says you don't take home the $42. Right. There's so many people you have to pay in between. That's where the warehouse, they made it sound like, oh, you only pay $3.77 per unit, and you sell it for 42. Well, yeah, because if you don't, then you can't do business.
Right. Period. Of course, because there's the warehouse, the marketing, the sales tax, if you're doing, that you have to add on later to other things.
Insurance.
There's so business many. License, overhead. Yeah. All the trade shows, and your sales reps commissions. And,
right. It just, pallets, and just everything. So in addition, okay, so that was one thing, was the warehouse. It was just kind of a big obstacle because you pay them a lot of money on the year. And
Sure.
secondly, we do have a brand called Violet Van Gogh, which is essentially our good, better, and best. I mean, we have Violet Van Gogh is sold to Walmart exclusively. And so we had just gotten into Walmart at the end of last year in July or so, and we were loading in units and all of this by the thousands. And there's so many obstacles there that you need a full-time person to make sure that you do not hurt yourself and get into a huge liability issue. And so I wish that we had, Daniel Lebetsky says in his book, with regards to Walmart, sometimes it's not a no, it's a not yet.
Mm-hmm.
And so there was a whole chapter on mistakes he made and what he would do about it. And and I thought, if I had just read his book before, maybe we wouldn't have done, because listen, Walmart just comes to you and says, hey, in your inbox, here's a PO, make it, have it in by July 30th. They say nothing else.
Yes.
That's it.
Easy peasy, right?
And that's
like,
not
I'll
it.
just pull it out. Yeah.
Yeah, it is most definitely not just send me this number of units. There's testing and there's the labeling and cartons and pallets and POs, and there's so much more to it. Thankfully, now we're partnered with someone who reached out after Shark Tank, thankfully, called Retail Mark, and they work exclusively with Walmart people to make sure that they do it right. And so, those are things that would have been helpful.
Yeah. And so, I mean, those are huge things that you can really mess up, right? I mean, especially if you mess up with shipping a large store, whether it's a big box or a department store, and you don't do it exactly the way their shipping guide says to do it, you get dinged with a million different, and you're practically like, wait, I've given this to you. I'm paying you now to sell it for me.
That's right. That's exactly right. And so meanwhile, you're waiting that 90
exactly
money that you just owe the bank because
exactly. Let me just burn my money down in the fireplace.
That's right.
So great. That's great that you got that. And so what else do you feel like this deal? I mean, are you going to go on QVC now? Is Lori going to take it on QVC? Are you guys going to stick with stores? Are you developing something? Because I know with QVC, you can't just sell the exact same thing for the same price that you're selling everywhere else.
So plot twist, we are not going to close on the deal with Sharks.
Okay. Woo.
Yeah, no. There is more due diligence. So the due diligence process took from May-ish until we taped in July. And then after the taping, so we taped, we started due diligence again with just Daniel and Lori's teams from the end of July until present, till just last week. And so it is just an astronomical amount of reports and, summaries, write a summary about why you did this and what other business. And I think at the end of the day, we decided, because we have Wear Your Soul, which is our new line.
Yeah, I saw that.
Because we have banked ourselves, I think that it wasn't, we're fine with it and we agree. I'm trying to PC this. So everybody's happy, but I think that it just wasn't as advantageous for them to partner with us as they thought.
Got it.
I think they have affection for people who have less numbers where they can make a bigger impact. I don't know, the personal reasons that they have, but they just kind of felt like we just had enough going on and that we didn't need the banking. And so, in the past 2 years, I mean, really and truly, if your numbers are good, nobody does. Right?
Totally. I mean, there's reasons, right? Whether you're going on Shark Tank looking for a shark, or people who are just looking for investors, just personal friends and family, or an angel investor or whatever. Right. I think that there has to be a major decision made, in what is that person bringing to the table that I can't possibly find out on my own, right? By asking a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend, right? Playing the huge game of telephone, right? Yeah. And calling on all the people that you need, because you are giving up a percentage of your business to whomever comes in, right? Yeah. But for me, what I always say to people is the biggest part of that is what will they give you in return that you
Right.
can't hire someone and just pay them to do for you, where you're not giving up any equity, right?
Right.
And if someone just throws money at you, right? If somebody called you and was like, hey, Ashely, I'm just going to give you $100,000 tomorrow because I love your business, right?
Yeah.
Then you still only know today what you know today,
That's right.
right?
That's
So then you're like, great, what do I do with the $100,000, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I think that I can see the allure of Shark Tank because supposedly, right, they're going to guide you and give you the resources and make connections for you so you don't have to spend time
Right.
digging for those, and playing the game of telephone and
Right.
hoping you made the right choice, right? That it comes with experience and knowledge. And at the same time, sometimes I think being on that show, kind of like how you were saying that this Walmart rep just showed up and called you, right? And kind of took it off your plate and you're like,
Yeah.
bye-bye, do your thing, happy to pay you
Yeah.
commission or whatever, right?
Yep.
And that there are people that come to you when you have exposure, right? Like Shark Tank.
Even warehouses. Yeah.
Yeah, when you were on Good Morning America, right?
Yeah.
So it's all those different levels of credibility as your business grows, right? That bring in the next level so that you can keep climbing that ladder.
Yeah. Yeah. And, it's funny, even from the exposure, a lot of people reached out to offer services, warehouses. We probably had, I don't know, up to 10 warehouses saying, hey, you know what? I know what you're dealing with right now because we have Shark Tank people and we're happy to help. And so it made vetting a warehouse so much easier, and so since Shark Tank, we have decided to go in a different direction with our warehouse. And so we're moving currently to a new warehouse. It just has a little bit more high tech on software and like just more eyes on moving parts. And so just more, I don't know, just a little bit more up to date.
Good.
And
I wish I had known because I could have recommended somebody good.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thankfully, Brittany really did a great job vetting some people and we're really happy with that.
Yeah.
And so that, and then I mentioned the Walmart people who that's basically all they do is make sure you don't make mistakes. And they used to be Walmart buyers. Yes. They were buyers. They know the process and the systems. And so, adding to the feedback that we heard from them are, you need more people, which we would kind of refute that. We operate with contract people who work from home and they're great at what they do. And we don't need a lot of people, and then, we heard that feedback and then we heard, maybe not yet on some other things. And so we just have evaluated our steps and making sure that we honestly feel good about it,
Yeah.
So,
want to be able to wake up in the morning and be ready to roll and not worrying about so many different levels that sometimes you can't do anything about it because you're not physically there,
That's right. Yes, for sure.
Well, so I saw from your website, right, because I like to be nosy, that you guys are selling in a gazillion small stores. And it looked like it was sort of a mixture of gift shops and maybe boutiques that sell gift items and different things. And so how did being on Shark Tank affect your wholesale sales? I mean, I know you were in stores prior, but did you go from 300 to 3,000 or?
We'll know more of that in the next few weeks. We're in market season right now, being January. It's our Super Bowl of markets. And I would say that we've had a couple people reach out and be like, hey, does this mean that Pink Picasso is going to be in big box stores? And our answer is no. I mean, we're really committed to boutiques and giving them like the best, first, the newest, the greatest, whatever. And so really our wholesale should stay pretty hopefully growing, but kind of stay where it is and have its place. What we look forward to happening with Pink Picasso and with Violet Van Gogh that's in Walmart, and even Modern Monet, our other brand that we just don't offer wholesale. Those three lines, we hope that our direct customer sales increase, just word of mouth. And so we definitely saw that in November and December and ended up with a great year. So that's our goal. That's the hard ones, is grow your Instagram following to over 10,000 so you can get a swipe up, right?
Yeah.
Like those are the things that we're so grateful for that show. And so, wholesale wise, I hope that they continue to bring us in. I think the key to that is to have newest and latest and greatest. And currently we just released a special edition line that is all black. We kind of thought around black Amex, like, really dramatic black, just prestigious looking stuff. And so that's kind of what we're selling right now. And that's doing really, really well. So we are not seeing a slowdown as far as people wanting to paint, which I'm grateful for, because I think people discovered what they wanted to do going forward, not run around like crazy and not have any hobbies and have zero self-care like we did before 2019 or in 2019, So we hope people will continue to care for themselves, and paint is part of that.
Yeah, that's so awesome. I mean, people, I think that because everybody was home for so long, right? People took up, whether it was cooking or painting or arting of some kind or exercising or whatever they chose as their self-care routine, right?
Right.
And you were an amazing beneficiary of that.
For sure.
And also I think it's really cool that you guys thought of something that was able to, mentally help people, right? Give them something to do.
Yeah.
I mean, not that that was the reason you decided to do it, but that it turned out that it was something really helpful. And so you did mention that being, your exposure on Shark Tank did raise your social media numbers and everything. So, cause I saw you were, I don't know, 12,000 or something or on Instagram. And so how do you feel like that has changed your business? Cause sometimes people will say, oh gosh, I only have like 3,000 followers, but I get tons of business from Instagram, or do you notice that there are, obviously you can track sales and see where they come, but has there been a big increase in social media sales since then?
So I think, just in general, direct customers been higher. Amazon's been higher. And I don't know what we call that. And maybe you call it a halo effect is, after Oprah and after Oprah again, there was a January halo effect where like, oh, yay, we're still reaping the benefits of this awesome push in fourth quarter. We don't know yet. We don't know how long. I mean, our Instagram went up about 5,000 followers, but, I feel like our business plan does not need to depend on social media followers. While that's a great thing, right? I feel like people on Instagram, just like I am, I'm pretty fickle on Instagram. I'll put something in my cart, then, not check out because I don't feel like getting all the way through the process or whatever it is, And so hopefully those things will come. I hope that it makes, I said on the show, and I'm pretty sure it was taken out, was, our goal is to, when you say you need a tissue, you say you need a Kleenex. You don't need a tissue, right? Nobody says I need a tissue. Well, what's the tissue, right? And so I'm hoping that Pink Picasso will be a household name, which is why we went ahead and did Good, Better, Best, And so, we did that so that we could slowly become something that people think about when they think of things to do at home and painting in general. And so, that's what I hope for out of the push, think of it for your mother-in-law that you scratch her head every year. What are you going to get her? Because she has everything and the money to buy whatever she wants, And so, and Amazon Prime for Pete's sake. Right? And so I don't know. I mean, my goals for the brand are just to become a household name, and, we'd love to sell it at some point. We would love to move on just so we can do our next brand. But as a whole, we're really enjoying running it and watching it go. It's fascinating to watch it grow. And I know you probably felt this way. It's fascinating to see who catches on and who talks about it and who shares. It's, it's very interesting to me. So
do you find that a difference like pre-Shark Tank and post-Shark Tank that your own, like, do you guys do a lot of marketing? Like, are you really good at contacting, your online shoppers, right? Through email marketing? Do you post daily on social, or do you run ads? Like what's your sort of marketing strategy?
So we added those things slowly. It was part of, growing organically like we did, even though it was quick with our media bumps. We added those things slowly because they're so expensive, right? And it's hard to allocate budgets when you just really don't have it. And for a long time we didn't, because we banked ourselves for 2 years. And thankfully we have a small bank in town that, after the 8th phone call, I finally found somebody who would lend us some money after we had sold almost, 1.3, almost over $6 million in sales took to get a small bank to say, hey, we'll bank your PO. Because, I was a contract worker before then. So I didn't have, I had no reason for them to believe me, right?
Sure.
Other than the current sales. And so it took a long time to get banked. And so on social media and Instagram and, Facebook and, all the ads, Amazon and whatever else, we just added them slowly. We increased the budget when we felt like we needed it, when we had something that came up, when the Oprah thing came across, we just, we raised. And when COVID hit, we were in a hotel in Chattanooga, and I'll never forget, I posted all these ads because I was like, everybody's stuck at home right now.
Yeah.
And it was really good for that year, but I don't think that people ought to just throw money at it. I think that there's work hard at Wholesale, work hard at, putting out great content, which is, I'd rather put out great content than great emails. But as far as emails go, we have an online business manager, and she runs all of our email, what we call email flows. I don't know if everybody calls it that. Hey, how are you? Thanks for stopping by the store, whatever it is. It's kind of like a map for somebody who did buy or who didn't buy. You get a certain email based on your behavior. And so, that's been super easy to do and very helpful. So we feel like that was a big deal. And then even like capturing email addresses, pop up. That's optional, of course. Yeah. And so our email list grew a lot, which is a big help. So
yes, I can imagine. And do you guys do just pure email, or do you do text messaging too?
We just do email right now. I personally don't like the text. And so I don't need anybody else coming to my phone. And so I just kind of feel like I think we'll probably stay out of that space just because it bothers me. And I'm like, I don't want to bother people. Let's stay off. Our point is to stay off our phones.
Yes, exactly. Right. Yeah. As much as possible.
Yeah.
And what do you guys have coming up? I mean, I know you've got like 4 lines right now. Well, 3 for yourself, and then your Walmart Violet line, right?
Yeah. So Violet Van Gogh's in Walmart. Modern Monet is destinations, more like Greece and Eiffel Tower and that kind of thing. And then Pink Picasso is going to boutiques, and then we sell that online and Amazon, of course. So those 3 brands, we operate those the same. Obviously all differently, but our same team operates, with those 3 brands. And so Wear Your Soul is our newest line, and that is high-end shoelaces and shoe tattoos. And basically these kids are all customizing their shoes, and adults, and everybody's wearing white tennis shoes, and they're all being customized one way or another. And so we're just helping that. So that new line is it launched at this market in January. So we are not even a month out. We had some pre-sales last year and they went really well, but that company is just kind of doing its thing. We use the same factory, the same team. It's just a different SKU list. And so it's a great way to kind of spread ourselves a little bit in different areas, but not be scatterbrained, kind of like we want to make it really simple for our team to run. So
yeah. And is that more like teen oriented?
No, I mean, we're kind of after the person who wears sneakers for an elevated look. I mean, whether it's, I do for sure. I mean, we wear sneakers with everything, dresses and whatnot. And and I'm so grateful for that after no heels for a long time. And so and people in their 30s, I think everybody will just customize differently, but we've had a really great response to it. So we're excited about where that will go. They're velvet and glitter and, all the fun things. And then the shoe tattoos are temporary. You just put them on and then you change them if you want. Yeah. So it's really fun. It comes in black matte packaging and just really, so that's going into stores right now and a fun fixture. And so we'll just see what happens.
It's exciting that for your big store list that you've got, new rollouts, and because obviously maybe for Pink Picasso, you've got new paintings that are coming out a few times a year, but to introduce a whole nother category for them, right, gives their sale team, a whole nother boost. Yeah.
So this is the Pink Picasso Black Special Edition line. So these are, it's kind of hard to see because it's round, but these are this is 16 by 20.
Right.
peony on this one. And then we did some that were 11 by 14. So there's 10 new ones, and then 4 new kits. And so that's really fun to have new stuff coming out every 6 months, essentially.
For your markets.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, because you guys are primarily in the gift market. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's where your reps are going to the gift shows and
Yeah,
out hitting the road.
I love wholesale market. I just, I think the key is being where you're going to be seen, and you have to be in a space that's a good fit for your product. You can't just go into wherever and be like, I like this showroom, let me put it here. I mean, it has to be,
take my stuff.
Yes. So it has to be a really good fit, I feel like. But I love it because you can strategically plan what you're going to order. You can ship it out in bulk. It's just a really great model, I feel like, especially for people with a new line, because you can order in waves. When we went to our very first market, we only had $1,500 worth of supplies. And so we just, we sold out every day, and we just said the next wave is going to be in March 1st. And it took us until May it took us 5 months to get everything that was sold, but we had to have money to pay for the next wave. So we had to charge this one and get the next one, charge this one, get the next one. So, I feel like for that reason, it's a great way to do it.
Mm-hmm. Rob Peter to pay Paul.
Yep. That's exactly right.
Yeah. I was always like the queen of 0% credit cards.
Oh yeah. Yes. And Best Egg loans, and QuickBooks has a loan, and yeah. Yeah.
At the end of the day, figure out how to make it work, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I love that I didn't know prior to chatting that you didn't take your deals on Shark Tank, and that you guys are going just full blown. And I just love seeing, I love hearing people's stories about why things work and don't work, and what makes a company tick. I just think it's so interesting for people for me to listen to, but for other people who are starting out their business, or maybe are even at sort of the same growth stoppage area that you were, right? Like, here I'm at this point, what do I do next? Who do I call? Oh my God, I'm going to die. I'm going to freak out. Right. Yeah. And that there are so many resources out there now of people who could help you. And, and also you've really seen the power of the press, right? For you guys. I mean, whether it was your Oprahs, or not too many people get on Oprah twice. But that all of that different exposure and the levels of credibility just start to build on each other. And one opens the door to the next thing. Right. And you just have to know, you have to be ready for that, and know that, okay, how am I going to do that? How am I going to ship? Okay. I'm just going to, take it step by step. Right. And not freak out. And it sounds like, that you ladies have your ducks in a row, and that you've been able to plan for this expansion and not be, paralyzed with fear.
Well, I'm glad it comes across like that. At the very least, fake it till you make it. But there's definitely been some scary times for sure. I think any business owner, anytime you put yourself out there like that, it is so scary. But at the same time, it's like, if there's not a great risk, there's not a great reward. Mm-hmm. Safe pays nobody. It just, I'm a risk taker by nature. And so I balance that with Brittany, my wife. She is calculated and detailed and not a risk taker. She's learned to be a dreamer, because I am. But she's the kind of like, hey, so is this what you think is going to happen? Okay, I'll trust you. Not she's dreaming on her own. And so I think that it takes several people. It takes somebody to balance out a risk taker. I think everybody needs to have somebody who is calculated on their team, for sure.
It's all kind of weigh and balance, right? I mean, because if there's people who just kind of go off the deep end and they're like, oh my God, I blew all my money. And then other people are like, I've got the hoard of money and I don't know what to do with it. I think that it's important to be able to even talk to somebody. I mean, you're lucky that you have a business partner, right? Who's there all the time. And not everybody has that luxury, right? They're, they're looking for answers all the time, or join, but there's so many groups people can join now and things people can do. So
I found that the groups were not very responsive, sadly. I'm so bummed because that's like the first place I went. There's several groups. I was like, hey, y'all, what do you do about Walmart? They're like crickets. Like, so I wish maybe I was in the wrong groups, but our very first hire was a strategist, believe it or not. It was like even the Sharks, we talked about it on the show. They were like, that was your first hire. I was like, well, yeah, because like, if you don't have it, you can't sell it. And so we were partnered with the Booth Project, and she did a great job tracking sales and everything. And so when we did go on Shark Tank, we just slid her stuff across and like, this is how many units we sold every month until forever. And so I think doing things like that, if you don't have somebody on your team, you just need somebody that can speak numbers really well and be super honest. Like, this one's not selling, you need to drop it out, not be emotional about the lavender scent, but I love it, but nobody else does.
Right. Yeah. Right.
So we had some hard talks. I was like, but I mean, I like that. But she's like, I get you do, but like, nobody else does.
Right. You're like, paint it, hang it in your house and move on. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. So I think things like that can help people that are starting out, and then realizing that not everybody knows all the answers. Like, consulting, I know you do consulting, and listen, that is such a gift, because that honestly means that you've kind of been there, done that on and if you don't know the answer, you'll know somebody who does.
Exactly.
And so maybe a consultant or a strategist should be everybody's first hire.
Mm-hmm. So it's funny because when I had my handbag company, my first hire was a shipping guy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And, I was like, I didn't know from anything. I mean, I was so green. I had some other businesses, but none of them were cash flow. They were all kind of cash up front. And so I didn't know anything about cash flow, but I was like, okay, I don't have time to do all the shipping. This was after maybe like 6 or 8 months, I was like, I have a little bit of money. That's what he's going to be doing. Because I'm good at selling. I can get on the phone and call the buyers and
hire at your pain points for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I'm really excited for you ladies to see, and also to see kind of where your journey ends up over the rest of this year, because we're just in January now. So I can watch your 2022 developments and see how you're growing. And anyway, I was really, really honored and thrilled to chat with you today.
Well, thank you for having me. I so appreciate it. So fun to chat about business. I love it.
It is. It's really fun, especially mom to mom.
Yes.
Yes.
Sure.
We all know that other list of pain points.
Yes, we do. Usually I have people in the background, the 7-year-old's like, hey.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me, and I will look forward to checking in with you ladies later in the year, and maybe we'll have you back and see what's going on.
That would be so fun.
All right. Thanks for Ashely for joining me.
Sure.
Thanks for tuning in to A Street Smart MBA with Sarah Shaw. Be sure to subscribe on iTunes to get the latest episodes anytime, anywhere, and we'll see you on the next one.